basic ways to set up the teepee. That's with or without the bug liner in the floor. Today we're gonna set it up with the bug liner and floor attached. So we're not gonna be running our stove. So we're gonna make sure that our stove flap is folded down and reattached via its Velcro. So like we said, step one, we're gonna find a door and then we're gonna stake it out and the two seams beside it. So Cody's gonna come from around the camera to give me a hand. And since I was the last one that put the tent away, I like to start it with the pole pocket at the top. And then I'm looking at the top of the tent. I can very easily find my door seam, which is made known by this large flap here. So boom, we can just pull down that flap. One way to set yourself up for success is I stuff the tent from the bottom to the top. So I'll grab the bottom of the tent, put it in the bag, so the next time that I pull it out, I'm holding it by the pole pocket. I found one of my main reference points on the tent. And then since I'm holding it up high, I can find my door seam. It's right here. And then all we have to do is follow it down. So I've got my stake loops for the door. So these are gonna be the first ones we stake down, and then we'll go from there. And then so now we've got that stake set. We're just gonna follow this base seam, and then we'll find one of our next major seams, and we can tell that by the guy lines and the seam running down to this corner. So we're gonna kind of take our best guess at, you know, at octagon here and get that straight over. And then one thing I want to point out is while we're doing this, leave those stake loops loose. We're gonna have to pull this off and then attach the stake loops for the floor and the bug liner. So make sure we've got a little bit of adjustment on those stake loops as we start. And now we can come over here, since we're kind of getting a picture started of where we're gonna be. We can take our floor and bug net out. Okay, so now we have our mosquito netting and floor out. And this is the prototype model, the test model. So you'll see Cody's holding a red stake loop, and there's another red stake loop over there. So what we ultimately did, and what you'll find in your version, is there's only one color, or there's only two colors, and they only match at the door. So there'll be red stake loops here to match those red stake loops, and then everything else going around the production model is gonna have plain black loops, so that's really easy to line that part up and then make sure that we come around in the right order so that our doors are lining up. So that's why it looks different today. So, but now we have to find the pole pocket for our bug netting, which I found. And then again, it's real easy to find a door seam, and we're gonna find that zipper and just follow it on down here. So we've got a pole pocket and a zipper. We're gonna open the zipper. Get our pole. And we're gonna line it up with this pocket first. So now, when we raise it, we've got a hold of our netting, and then we can kind of arrange ourselves once we get the first, we'll get the pole in there, and then we can start pulling tight and lining ourselves up on the way around. Yeah, so this is now we've begun step two. We've got our pole pocket, we found our mesh mosquito netting door, and we've inserted our pole into this, the tent interior, and now we're gonna raise both pieces together. Okay. So now's a good time to kind of keep track of where we're at. Since we've already got this door open and this door identified, we can pretty easily line it up with that door over there. So we'll be started in the right direction. I'm gonna get this pole all the way in there. Right. So now Cody can start working over there. And then I can make sure that we're pulling fairly equally on all sides here. All right, so Cody has gotten our tab pulled over there, following this door seam. All right, so he's pulled that one over in that direction, and we've got this other one pulled over there. And what that did is down here on the floor, it helped us find our center square. So now we're pretty well lined up. So that's what we're looking for. Once we get that door pulled that way, we can look back and we've got our basic center mark. We've got a really good starting point. Okay, so we're back. We've got the center pole inside the mosquito netting, inside of the teepee itself. So now Cody has laid out the inner tent. So I can simply pull the stake just a little bit and then get our mosquito netting staked out with the same stakes here. And in some cases, like this corner here where it's not a door, you don't have to remove this stake to put this on. We can just go right over top and be on the same stake there. Okay, got that side. All right. Again, we can just get a little bit of slack in here and go over the same stake loop. All right, no need for anything else there. All right, so also setting it up with the mosquito netting inside is really a two-person job. So now, while I'm doing this on the outside and we're working our way around the tent, what Cody's doing on the inside, so going down our seams, we have little spindles, little bone buttons. So the person on the inside is just going to attach these so that once the tent is fully erect and taut, these are what's going to keep the mosquito netting from kind of draping back in on us. So that's the inside guy's job here. Cody's in there working on that. I can easily reach the stake loops. And like we said, alternating sides as we go to create equal pressure. So as you can see, our ground's not exactly level. So when we get tight in one direction, we're not always tight in all directions here. So I'm gonna go ahead and set one of these guy lines out. I'm almost gonna be able to just lift up the side of the teepee and find my next stake loop, matching up inside to outside. And this is why it's handy to have somebody stay inside so that they can move the floor. They can keep adjusting the outward tension on the floor, because that's what happened. We had too much slack on that side and I tried to pull too hard on this side. So with this large of a footprint, we're rarely ever gonna have a complete level surface. So you will end up with some stakes slightly higher than others, but that's why the tent, or the floor, has a 6-inch bathtub seam, so that even if something does begin to sort of blow under, you've got your waterproof floor as a shingled effect. So there it was, all 3 steps. Find the door, stake it out, get your pole up, finish staking it out. You're done. All right, so that was step 1 through 3. Let's take a tour, see what we ended up with. So, got a nice big door here. On nice days, we can just shove it back over there. And then we've got our liner. See how that, by finding that stake early on, or that stake loop, I should say, finding that stake loop set us up. Now we've got our door properly aligned. Going inside, we've got all of our little spindles, bone buttons here. So what that's doing is keeping the mosquito netting from sagging, right? Because it's, 9 feet of material. So it wants to walk down. And you can see fully taped seams on the floor. And this is the that center mark in the floor that I was talking about earlier. So we ended up pretty good on tension. And again, you're probably never gonna find a perfectly level place unless you're setting this up on the 18th tee or green, whatever. Golf area is nice and flat. So lining that door up properly the first time, we ended up in the same spot over here. And if we wanted to use this door, if the wind shifted on us or whatever, now we're using this door. Right? So either way works. All right, so from the inside, kind of looking around, Cody missed a couple spots here, but it's fine, it's fine. We'll live, we'll survive the night. So going around, we're attached and pulled nice and tight, right? And then we've got our outside ventilations, and then we can see our stove jack. And again, you want to make sure that if you're using the netting, that you've gone ahead and rolled that flap down to make sure that you're not just getting the rain pouring in right there. Then up top, we've got a little hook where we can hang a lantern or clotheslines or anything. So that's the inside. So this is a 4-season tent, and to ensure that it is a 4-season tent, we have a fully taped seam from the factory. You don't have to do that. It's ready to go out of the box. And as you can see on the floor here as well, fully taped seams all the way around. So if you're familiar with tent camping, or even not, you've probably heard stories of, it rained in my tent last night, right? The condensation builds up to a point where if you touch the wall, it drops a sheet of rain on you. Yes, that is a fact of life when you're living in any tent, right? And the only way, 2 ways to combat it are ventilation. That is one of the necessary elements to achieve that. So you'll see our our hoop ventilation on the side. They have a plastic hoop to keep them open, all right? But that's gonna require the ability for air to flow underneath. So I don't often fully stake it out, just so that if there's a breeze, I can get some airflow underneath. Or one good substitute is to find a little Y-shaped stick and sort of create a hoop right here. There's a couple different options for that. And then the other way being heat, right? If we have our stove running, but we can't run the stove if we have the mosquito netting. So you have to sort of figure out which way you're gonna run it, and then make your condensation plan based off of that. Heat and ventilation are the 2 ways to prevent condensation from building up in your tent overnight. If the weather's nice, I suggest leaving as much of a door open as possible. Both of these doors have, that midway stake point. So your door would be open about that much with your mosquito netting closed. That provides ample ventilation for the prevention of condensation. With the mosquito netting you know, you can't run the wood burning stove, but how do I take the edge off? How do I, you know, a small Mr. Buddy heater, you know, you could fit a big buddy in there, but I would stay with just the Mr. Buddy. I think you're gonna find that that's gonna be plenty of warmth, especially once you step out of the wind. All right, so that was step 1, 2, 3. Find the door, stake it out, set the pole, finish staking it out. Step 4, enjoy.